Victoria, let's just go back to the very basics. What are free ports and how can they benefit us?
Yeah, so free ports, also sometimes known as free zones, are sort of a geographical area where certain facilitations are put in place. Traditionally, that's facilitations to do with trading goods, so making it easier to import goods without having to pay the tariffs, and then you might process them, manufacture them into something else, and then export them again without having to have undergone all of the sort of compliance red tape associated with that. So traditionally it was very much associated with goods and manufacturing. More recent free ports have developed in things like financial services. For example, Dubai has a very successful financial services zone. And actually, it's more and more to do not so much with just tariffs and pure trade measures, but general regulatory freedoms and other things like planning and all of these other things that just generally are seen to make it easier to set up a business and grow a business in that zone.
Now, what Scotland's proposal is that instead of having UK free ports, they have their own green free ports that have pretty, one would imagine, cumbersome restrictions when it comes to net zero targets. Given that free ports have traditionally been used to help bolster manufacturing, how can that work alongside stringent ecological incentives?
Well, I think, the way this process has been handled with all of this wrangling between the British government in Westminster and the Scottish government, the British government wanted to do free ports, the Scottish government wanted to do green ports, so they spend a year arguing about it and come up with green free ports. I think this already signals that we are getting bogged down here in over-engineering the process and making it less about freedom to invest in businesses and more about more political concerns, and in particular a way of steering subsidies towards the net zero industry, which, it's not often I find myself in agreement with the Scottish Greens, but I do have some sympathy for their point of view here, where they said, this is more about tax breaks and public money going to large corporates and not much evidence of creating economic prosperity. Now, we might have different routes to coming to that position, but as I say, I do have some sympathy with their take on that.